do what I do.
Europe has presented itself as the height of sophistication, intellect, and global responsibility. Yet when it comes to hard power, okay, the ability to defend itself, invest in its own military, and uphold its own security, Europe has proven itself to be weak as a wet cotton swab. You understand me? Picture that, okay? Europe is nothing more than a collection of well-dressed freeloaders, completely dependent on the United States to carry their burden. Nowhere is this more obvious than in this war in Ukraine. All right, United States of America is a whole ocean away on both sides, and we spent more of our own taxpayers' money defending Europe to try to help sustain the Ukraine war effort. Even though Europe, you know, they are the ones that face the direct consequences as a result of these Russian military expansion. The European leaders, they talk that big game about standing up to aggression, about defending democracy, which I find highly suspect because part of democracy is being able to speak freely. And they got a whole group of police to crack down on their own citizens. And I'm talking about Great Britain. I'm talking about UK. So what kind of freedom of speech do you have over there if you got the police running up on you because of social media posts that you make? They talk a big game. Let them tell it. America's the most unsophisticated country on the planet until they need us. See, when the bill comes due, everybody's sitting at the table, UK, Germany, France, and America's sitting over here minding our business. All we had was some tea and a cheese sandwich. They sat over there and ate the caviar and the lamb, and we got to pay the bill. See, when the bill comes, they always expect us, the American taxpayers, to pay it. Look, I'm going to talk about the North American or the North Atlantic Treaty Organization called NATO. It was originally founded as a collective security insurance. And for decades, the U.S. has been footing the bill while European nations have treated it like an insurance policy they never intended to pay. All right. Now, there are some specific guidelines to say how much everybody's supposed to pay. You're supposed to pay 2% of your gross domestic product, what you produce for defense. But the European nations have they spend too much money buying tea and crumpets, you understand, caviar and croissants. Even the Germans, the richest economy in Europe, they barely spend 1% of their GDP on defense. All of these people rely on the American taxpayer. That's your money. The U.S. contributes 70% of NATO's total military power. Hell, we sustaining two militaries, damn near. One to defend us and one to defend Europe. Against who? Other Europeans. That's the cold part about it. I want you all to look at something. I want you to look at something. If you don't remember anything else, I'll show you tonight. I want you to look at this map. Okay? You guys let me know when this map shows up on the screen, because I want you to see it for yourself. This is a telltale sign. Shout out to Red Sigma. Thank you for being the first person to contribute to the super chat. You're the real superstar. Can you all see that map? This map was taken off Wikipedia, and it highlights all of the wars that have been fought for the past 4,000 years, specifically since 2500 BC. Do you see that? Where have all the wars been fought? I'm going to give you a hint. See that? When you look throughout the whole rest of the world, you have some in America, but most of these wars were fought between Europe and European nations. But look at this. We still have less fights going on than they do amongst themselves. Think about that. Europe has more warring going on in the Middle East, more than Africa, more than Asia, more than South America. What does tell you? Specifically, the number is 10,624 battles. What does this tell you about these people? Why do you think Americans had to get the heck away from them? Why do you think these folk Europeans leave their countries and go off and fight with other people around the world? You understand what I'm saying? This is the reality. And yet we have NATO, which binds us to help these people keep fighting. They're fighting right now. And they don't even want to pay for their wars. They're a bunch of freeloaders. Let's call Europe what it is. There are a bunch of freeloaders that refuse to pay for themselves and fight their own war. European leaders love to lecture America about diplomacy and restraint and international norms. All the while, they're the ones instigating wars, basically pillaging other countries. They depend on our American fighters, our jets, our intelligence, our networks, our missile systems, our satellites, just to keep their border secure. Ukraine is not even our neighbor. It's not an American responsibility. It's a European security. They're not even a part of NATO. Okay? Yet we've spent almost $200 billion trying to defend these people. Where's Germany? Where's UK? Where's France? These are the wealthiest nations in Europe. And they've given less money. Those three nations have given less money than America has. And they constantly promise to stand with Ukraine, but they refuse to put their money on money. They have no skin in the game. Poland, the Baltic states, those are the people closest to the conflict, and they haven't contributed anything significant. But they rely on the military guarantees of the United States to defend themselves. And meanwhile, the U.S. continues to send money, weapons, logistics, support, all funded by the American taxpayer. I want you all to understand something. This is not new behavior for these people. Europe has a long history of getting itself in trouble and then expecting America to beg them out. Winston Churchill, damn near, he was probably happy that Japan bombed the UK, bombed Hawaii, because that forced America to come over. Other than that, we weren't going to get involved in that European war. This is what you have to understand. They were begging us to come in. We're like, nah, we good. We ain't coming over there. That's between you all. Y'all work that out on your own. This is really what happened. And then when Japan bombed, it drug us into the war. Look at World War I. Europe tore itself apart. Then America had to step in. Not only did we have to step in and fight, but we had to step in and try to help them put it back together. Same thing with World War II. You wonder why we have all these tariffs? Because we allowed them to tariff us and our goods so that they can rebuild themselves. We've been cutting them favors for years, even with the Cold War. Well, let's go back to what we look at. Europe, World War II, Europe failed to prevent the Nazi Germany expansion once again because they're soft as cotton swabs over there eating too much caviar, and American lives had to be sacrificed to restore order over there. Europe relied on the U.S. military to contain the Soviet Union, even though they're neighbors with them, spending our money on social programs, right? That's what we need to be doing. Instead of doing that, we have to maintain bases and missile shields and rapid response force. You want to know why the American budget is so big? The military budget? Because we have to spend money defending Europeans. That's why it's so big. Nobody ever talks about that. The reason that the American military budget is so big is because we got bases all around the world having to defend other people from themselves and their neighbors.
We do not care if y'all go out of the country to find y'all a wife who is traditional.
Every day, more lies.
It's cold outside, Blizzard King coming. Numbers don't lie, trick, hot girl summon. Kevin Samuels try to love you. Uma wanna cuff you. The world is getting cold, Blizzard King saying f*** 'em. It's cold outside, Blizzard King coming.